Hi everyone, welcome back to Gardening with Melon. We're here in my yard. My dad's here. Say hello, Dad.
Hello.
We got the puppies. We got Cusco right here. Jack just walked away, but don't worry, they were sniffing around the garden earlier. So I want to show you the progress of the garden so far. All this corn that we planted have gotten very tall. They're about 7 inches. So we got these tall stalks, and then we planted a little more, and they're still itty bitty. But see how quickly they grow? It's wild. And then we also have our sunflowers. These are the ones with the wide leaves. You kind of see that these are starting to look like corn. When you, if you ever buy corn at the grocery store, at a farmer's market, sometimes they have a little bit of leaves. And we got our sunflowers here too. Our marigolds, we were kind of not doing a great job keeping them thriving, but we're gonna get them back to where they need to be.
And we got more.
But we got more marigolds too. We have our tomato plants. They've gotten really big. See this one? All the way, it starts down here. It's all the way up to here, and it's even gotten some flowers. So remember how there are flowering plants and there's root plants. Some vegetables you eat the roots, like with onions and potatoes. We talked about that a little bit before. And some you eat the fruits. So tomatoes, you eat the fruit. So first it becomes a flower, and bees pollinate it, and then they become yummy tomato plants. Tomato, yummy little sweet tomatoes. Sweet 100s. So I'm very excited for those. Since we have flowers, that means the fruit's coming. So today, we are going to release some ladybugs into our garden to help it out. Remember how last week we talked a little bit about how bugs, some bugs are really good for the garden and some are not so good for the garden? Well, we want to introduce some good bugs. So ladybugs are awesome because they eat all those plants. They eat all the bugs that munch on your plants. So the ones that make little holes in the leaves or eat up the flower before it can become a fruit. So those are like aphids, roly-polies, beetles. Those are not good for the garden, but ladybugs love to eat them. So actually, we didn't release the ladybugs soon enough because we've already got some bad bugs in the garden. We have this awesome strawberry plant that we planted the first week. See, there's a strawberry flower here. It's gonna become a delicious strawberry. You can kind of tell the center of it kind of looks like a strawberry. And right here we have a nice red strawberry, but oh no, it has a hole in it because some kind of bug ate it up before we got a chance to pick it because it wasn't fully ripe. See, it still has some white parts on it. So it was probably something like a beetle or a roly-poly, could be a snail, but I haven't really seen any snails in the garden. So since strawberries are really low to the soil, it's really easy for bugs to get at them. So we're gonna release some ladybugs so that hopefully all those plants stay really healthy. You know, we've also seen some bugs, some bad bugs at action over here on our corn. Oh, actually this is our sunflower. See, they've eaten a hole right through the leaf. You can see my finger through it. But have no fear, we got ladybugs here. So, we went to the hardware store and we got these ladybugs in a box. So they were hibernating before. We had them in the refrigerator actually, because they just sleep when it's cold and they don't mind it at all. And now you can see them a little bit. They're crawling around, and we're gonna release them into the garden, and they're gonna fly around to different plants in our backyard, to the different planter boxes, to the trees, and even all around the neighborhood. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. So it's pretty cool. So here we go. Oh, the wind's coming. So you can see all the ladybugs in there. I love ladybugs, so I think this is so cool. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set it down in our garden. I'll set this here, and I'll set the lid in the other planter box. Away from the water. And just look at my hands. They're just covered in ladybugs.
Cool.
So they're just walking around. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of shake them off into this cherry treat. They're pretty sturdy. This one doesn't want to come off at all.
Ooh, the first two flew away.
It's hunkering down. All right, I seem to be ladybug free, so yeah, check it out. And they're all over the earth.
Looks like there was little chips of wood that they're living in there.
Yeah, while they were
sleeping.
hibernating, they had some nice cozy wood chips that were comfortable. So some of them are flying around already.
And this is a good time to let them out when the sun's setting because they're looking for a place to stay to live. So they
Yeah,
don't go too far
they
away.
like to be let out when it's cool out so that they can find somewhere to settle down. Awesome. So now that we have those good bugs out in our garden, we're hoping that the bad bugs kind of are at bay for a little while. And we are actually gonna talk a little bit about how else we keep our plants really healthy. So my dad over here has got some ladybugs on him because he picked up the container. So I hope you like ladybugs because that's what this show's all about. So right now, we want to make sure that our plant grows exactly how we want it to so that it produces the most fruit and it's really tasty. So we have this tomato plant here, and as you can see, it has a lot of branches coming off really close to the ground, and that can be bad because, you know, I said there's all those bugs that like to eat the plants. When it's really close to the ground, it's really easy for them to access it. It's a nice shady area, so lots of snails or bugs are kind of attracted. So that's a factor, but also they're using a lot of the plant is using a lot of energy to grow out, but we want it to grow up and flower. You know, all the flowers are up here. That's a little tomato flower that will become a tomato. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna prune this plant. So we're just gonna go ahead and just break off one of those low branches. This one's so low, it's kind of hard to break off. There we go. So I have that, and we're gonna go put that in our compost. So I'll just set it on the side. And we're actually gonna get this one too. Gonna break it off. There we go. And then we might trim some of these other branches, but we're gonna wait until the plant gets bigger. We don't want to take away too much of its energy. We want it to have some branches to grow. So this tomato plant over here, see, it doesn't have too many branches low to the ground, so we're gonna keep it. This one's good to go. Maybe when it gets taller, we'll prune it a little more. But we have another big one over here. This is the one I showed you earlier that had all the flowers that will become tomato plants. So we're gonna go ahead and take off one of these low branches. This one right here. Snap. And this one right here, because this one's pretty big, so we can already prune more of the branches. We're gonna put those in the compost later. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna add some cages to the tomatoes so that they can grow up tall and they don't have to worry about falling over. We have some in this other planter box. This is my mom's planter box that we're doing a deep soak in. But see, we have this cage here, and this tomato plant grows up inside the cage. And then look, it already has kind of a branch over the side. So it's just kind of leaning on the cage so that it has lots of support. And that way it doesn't break and lose, you know, a whole chunk of it just because it's leaning over. So it's just kind of like a nice support system for the plant. So we're gonna add those later. We also are gonna add more of those, these marigolds. We have them right here. See, they're still in their container, but we're gonna take them out and we're gonna add them to the garden. Remember, these are really good at getting rid of bad bugs because they don't like the smell of them, or they're just not attracted to them, so they stay out of the garden. So we're gonna do that later. But we're gonna do that next. We're gonna go ahead and say goodbye, and you'll see them next week. We'll show you our updated garden. So thanks so much for joining us today, and make sure to check out the other YouTube videos we have, and keep gardening and keep getting outside. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.